It's pretty hard being in crypto. Most of us came into the industry thinking that money would just fall off the trees and it would be very easy to achieve a $1 million goal. But what we've come to find is that it actually takes a lot more of your time and patience to achieve that, and yet still most of us walk out of the bull run with less money than we put in. It's a statistical nightmare. So I thought I would make this video and actually show you what it will genuinely take to make $1 million from 5K, 10K, 1K, and how to actually go ahead and do it. And if you're unfamiliar with who I am, well, I'm going to be taking you through my exact plan to make multi-millions out of this cycle. I plan to make anywhere between 5 million to 10 million. So yes, I'm definitely, practicing what I preach here. Now, I get it, right? A lot of you are used to hearing these altcoin top 10 videos where basically influencers tell you what they believe are the hottest coins of the week. But I want to really stress for those of you who can make it through this entire video to sit, think about this, and go and apply it straight away. First of all, again, it's not financial advice. Now, the principles I'm going to teach you that will allow you to transform such a small amount of money into a large amount of money, all thanks to crypto, mind you. It's going to rely on basic principles from, common financial rules, but applied into this industry where I just continue to laugh my head off because no one ever does this. No one takes the common principles and applies it to an industry where 1000% gains are the normal. So with that being said, I want to start off by just mentioning, guys, if you are someone new to the space, especially thinking to yourself, you can just make your money by random pot shots, right? You can go ahead and find the hottest coin of the week and jump in on the hottest narrative and maybe get lucky and get a quick 10x. If you're, again, lucky. That's gambling, guys. That is literally gambling, right? Most of the money has already been made. I'm talking about those 100x gains in the top altcoins. You'll see here I'm on the top 300 coins. That's okay. Some of these bottom ranking coins will still do quite high multiples. But again, you have to get lucky. And if you are someone coming in wanting a 15 or a 20x on some of these top altcoins, you have to be very, very selective. The top 100 are especially difficult to get any sort of high multiples out because, again, most of them have been already made. So with that said, here comes what I believe to be a strategy anyone can do, and I'll show you why, okay? There's actually two core principles I need to teach here. The first one is one of the most important, and that is multi-cycle compounding. Now, if you are a channel OG or you've been around here for any more than about a week, you've likely heard me talk about this strategy. And I really want you to listen in and, again, apply this to your own situation. So multi-cycle compounding is exactly what the name suggests. Compounding your gains in every single cycle. And this goes against what most people think in crypto, which is hodl, right? Hold forever, hold for 2030, never sell, or if you're going to sell in the next 10 years or so. There's only one exception, or maybe two, which is Bitcoin and Ethereum. So let's pretend we're buying Hedera HBAR, okay? You can pick any altcoin for that matter. But Hedera HBAR, if we zoom right into where we are today at about 10 cents for each coin, okay? If you were to spend $1,000 today on HBAR, you'd be able to buy 10,000 coins with this price, okay? Very simple maths to work that out, of course. Now, in the coming bull run, I expect HBAR to likely top anywhere between $2 to $5, likely to be conservative, let's say $2. And of course, if you're a good person, you don't want to be selling at the very, very tops. You want to be out well and truly before that happens. So let's say you end up selling HBAR at $1.50. So of course, simple maths, 10,000 tokens multiplied by $1.50 because that's your average sell. And you get a 15x, which is $15,000. So there you go, you're 15x your money, which is pretty good. Now, most of us, and I can say that for certain, wouldn't really be happy with that. Now, if you can invest 10K or 100K in a HBAR and you 15x, well, that's a lot of money, right? But I think for most of us that can afford to invest only $1,000, even if it isn't life-changing, you're still going to be quite disappointed about that. Here's where the magic comes in, and this is a shift in your mindset, and this is going to, I guess, piss off a lot of the people who just like to take pot shots. I guess the guys who unfortunately like to keep everything to what's happening this week rather than, the next couple of years. You're not going to like this plan that much, but I would really like to stress this idea first of all. So then let's say it's, a couple of years down the track, you sold it all in 2025, you're holding on to $15,000. Let's say you have to, give a few $1,000s to the tax man and keep a couple of $1,000s for yourself. Well, in the next bear market, which is between 2026 and 2028, let's say HBAR goes up 2.5x on average, and you manage to buy in per HBAR coin now at 25 cents, okay? So we're moving now to a few years into the future. Well, with that 25 cents and the $10,000 you have left over, again, remember, we're going to keep $5,000 for things like taxes and things like groceries, whatever else you really need to do with the extra money. And so in this case, we buy as much HBAR as we can for 25 cents. You buy 40,000 HBAR in that case, and now you have 40,000 HBAR. Let's say we conservatively just 2x from the all-time high for HBAR in 2030, which I think it can do a lot more. Therefore, we roughly speaking 2x our average sell. Again, I think that's very, very reasonable. And in this case, you'd make 120 grand. So actually the multiples between buying now and selling in 2025 and then buying back again in 2028 and selling in 2030 is about 27x. So you're only 27xing, but in reality, what you're actually doing is 120xing. So you've basically gone to CoinMarketCap, picked an altcoin that's 120x over X amount of years. So the way I know this is because we invested $1,000 and we profited 120. But we only 27x in terms of the price, right? From bottom to top, bottom to top. This is compounding. This is the whole idea around crypto and why it's important going into the next principle I'll touch on in a second. Because all we're trying to do in crypto is simply accumulate tokens. Doesn't matter what price you buy the tokens, as long as you get more tokens, more bang for your buck. Notice we've actually 4x'd the quantity of tokens we've held from this cycle to the next cycle, which is the important factor here. Let me briefly stop this video as I want to ask you all a question. Do you guys remember the crazy NFT boom a while back? Well, it's been almost 2 years since everyone was spending millions of dollars on JPEGs, but with the new bull run ramping up and the NFT craze likely to get even hotter, I want to introduce you all to a new and promising NFT project called rTrade. rTrade is today's video sponsor and a new NFT marketplace built on Solana that combines NFTs with real-world asset tokenization for artists and buyers to break the barriers in both the real and digital worlds. rTrade's marketplace is designed to liquefy the extremely illiquid art world and facilitate a middle ground between artists, large and small, who have traditionally found selling artwork and thus enough to make a living quite difficult due to the high barriers of entry. Artists using rTrade have been given a chance to reduce the barrier to entry as close to zero as possible, linking physical artwork with a digital buyer or buyers, all the while creating a fan base that they previously would have struggled with. rTrade's superpowers and secret sauce comes from their real protocol, a tamper-proof electronic artwork ledger able to track real-world art using unique NFC identifiers minted and tracked by rTrade to guarantee authenticity and the origin of a physical item, ensuring that the physical copy, of course, matches its digital counterpart. And there's already a huge interest in rTrade, likely because of this amazing and unique concept, because they've amassed a market cap already of $131 million according to CoinMarketCap, going absolutely parabolic in the last month. With all that being said, you can check out rTrade with the links down below and join the likes of John Hammond and others by using rTrade in more ways than one. And thank you to rTrade for supporting all my work and the channel. With that said, let's get back to the video. A lot of you might be thinking to yourselves, well, Kyron, I was told to hodl because if I can buy at 10 cents today and I'm selling HBAR at $3, that's a lot better off than buying HBAR over here at 25 cents on the up and up. And yes, that's true, you're buying at a cheaper price, but again, it's the number of tokens you accumulate. 40,000 tokens is better to hold, even if you pay more for them, okay, considering that the gains you've made is obviously the gains that you've profited from this cycle, then it is 10,000 tokens holding for the next 7 years. Because if you bought these 10,000 HBAR today and you hold until 2030, yeah, you get 30x. You actually make more multiples on the price overall, but you're still 30x your actual profit. You've turned $1,000 into 30,000. So this is a very, very simple principle. And again, you'll hear me talk about it quite a lot on the channel, but I just can't shake people enough and wake them up enough and to show them why this is such a potent, excellent strategy. People just don't do it because, again, everyone has the very short-term mindset, okay? Now, you don't have to reinvest in the HBAR on the lows down here. You don't. You can buy any altcoin for that matter. I like to buy the altcoins that you can do that with, so it's nice and simple. But again, you might want to sell your HBAR over here and then buy an ICP or buy a new coin that looks really promising, for example. Who knows? Who cares? It's your individual plan. But I do also hear the comments down below saying, Kyron, but what happens if HBAR doesn't fall down to 25 cents? What happens if it falls to a point where it's not actually favorable for you to buy any of the tokens in the next bear market? Well, guys, it's crypto. So as much as these highs go up, the lows come down even harder. These coins will fall 80, 90, maybe 95% from their all-time highs. And so it would be extremely rare to find a coin like HBAR only fall 50% from their all-time high in the next bear market. And so the only point in time this will become unfavorable for someone doing this plan, again, it's almost uncommon. Different if we were in the stock market, these things don't fall down as far, but crypto very common, was if when you buy the token on the dip over here, you would only accumulate the same or less than the amount of tokens you had originally, okay? So notice over here, if we actually buy HBAR at $1 a pop, so again, only a 50% drop, well, of course, that would mean that we only buy 10,000 HBAR tokens if we still had that $10,000 in the same situation to reinvest, okay? And so you can see here, we just have 10 grand, 10 grand this time. So matter of fact, if you did this, it would just simply be the same as holding from the lows up until 2030. But of course, again, does HBAR go to $1 or more? Like if it fell down to $1.50, yeah, you're probably only getting what's that? Let's just say 5,000 tokens, which is obviously worse. The chance that happens is so slim, it's borderline impossible, okay? So again, this strategy works most of the time. Just find the price in which your token or your project would have to fall to make that not feasible. But again, you don't have to reinvest just in the same token twice. You might do HBAR and then ICP, and then the list goes on. Now, some of you keen investors probably have a few ideas going around your head right now. One of those is, well, what if I sell most of it and hodl some of it, right? It just feels right. There's no logical reason to this. People just do it because it just feels right, okay? And what I mean by that is, same situation, again, 10 cents HBAR, spending $1,000, buying or accumulating 10,000 tokens. But rather than selling all 10,000 tokens here, they only sell 8,000. So let's just say they keep about 2,000 tokens. So they sell, the 8,000 tokens at $1.50, and they have, in this case, 2,000 holding tokens. Well, again, just because they buy at a cheaper price does not mean anything. Again, get that out of your head, guys. It literally means nothing. The fact that you buy a cheaper price just means you get more bang for your buck. $1 goes further at 10 cents than buying at 20 cents, okay? And so in this case, this person over here running through the example, again, they keep $5,000 as well. They use $7,000 to buy as much HBAR at 25 cents, and they're still holding that 2,000 HBAR. So they've accumulated 28,000 HBAR. They still have the 2,000, which means if we add that up, it's 30,000, okay? Same situation, except this time they profit $90,000, okay? Still a 27x. They're still 27xing in terms of price between these 2 points. But their overall is now a 90x versus the previous, which was 120x. So ask yourself, would you rather make $90,000 with 1,000 or $120,000 with 1,000? So again, guys, don't fall for the doctrine. I mean, it's part of crypto. A lot of people just believe these things naively. And I've spoken with many people who I've told this to, and they still say, well, it just feels right. I just want to keep holding. They can do whatever they want with their own money. I'm just trying to say, the same situation happened multiple times in the past. I spoke about this mathematically with Polkadot and the parachains 2 years ago. And I literally had people in the comments saying, I can see the math, I agree with you, but I'm waiting for this. I've been anticipating this event, or I've been kind of believing this situation myself for so long, I'm just going to do it. And believe you me, the amount of comments I have after saying, I wish I just listened, is insane. So again, the math is all here. You can work it out yourself, so I'm just trying to say, think about it critically for a bit. And give me one moment, because I'm going to show you a real example of my own situation, pairing that with this, and you'll see how much money you can really make here. It's literally insane, okay? Hundreds of multiples. We're talking 20,000% gains, okay? So the next thing we want to pair the compounding, the multi-year cycle compounding plan with is staking. This often goes over many people's heads, because they think, oh, it's staking, I have to do a little bit of work here, it's potentially risky, they don't know too much about it, out of mind, out of sight. This will harm you quite a lot. Now, if we use the example of Manta, okay, Manta has a 40% APY. Now, admittedly, not many projects do, and I'll show you an example here in a moment, but let's just presume it's 40% APY for the sake of Manta, right? If you stake for 1 year, okay, some projects are 10%, even 10% is great. You accumulate tokens. And again, what did I say moments ago? We want to accumulate tokens. Tokens is better than the dollar in a bull run. It performs a lot better than any other asset, unfortunately, for gold and silver and all that, right? So if we had 1,000 tokens of Manta today, we stake those for 12 months, we'd accumulate 400 more tokens. 40% we'd accumulate. So we'd then have 1,400 tokens, which means we have two options. The first is playing crypto cheaper and safer. Let's say our expectation was to sell our Manta at $99, right, to achieve a goal of $100,000 revenue. We want to have a look at our portfolio, and our portfolio wants to say $100,000, all right? Now, to achieve that, of course, we have to 45x. But if we stake at 40% APY in this example, right, what we can actually do is only 32x. We can mathematically sell at $70 because we've acquired 400 more tokens completely for free, which means we can receive our $100,000 revenue target. Again, in crypto, all we need to do, guys, is achieve our goals. If you're someone, I want 100x or I want a 50x or I just want to make as much money as possible, you're going to be holding your bags because you have no limit. There's no limit, and then the prices are going to come back down just as hard. So we want to achieve our goal of $100,000, and we can do so at $70. Not only cheaper, of course, but safer. Okay, it's much safer selling at a lower price than it is at $99. Now, we can do a second situation here, which is just simply make more money, all right? If you deem at $99 is going to be a reasonable target for, in this case, Manta, well, simply we can make our $100,000, right, which is our target, plus the 400 extra tokens allows us to pretty much have $39,000 or $40,000 extra, right? We've just profited 40% more by just staking our tokens. So I want to take you through the example again of Manta, seeing as we just spoke about it right then, and I'll keep this quite simple. So it's pairing both of these together, okay? It's talking about buying Manta today at $3, buying $10,000, and yes, if you don't have $10,000 of Manta, that's okay. Apply it to you if you have 3,000 divided by 3, if you have 1,000 divided by 10, if you have 100,000 times it by 10, right? So buying 3,333 Manta today, if we sell at $50, which is a 30 billion market cap, I think is very realistic. That's 166 grand. That's quite a bit of money. That's a 17x, which is quite reasonable for Manta, I believe, okay? Now, if we go to the next bear market and we average buy in at 3x more, which, by the way, I think Manta will fall a lot lower than that, well, we are able to put our money to pretty good use. If we keep $16,700 for tax and for nappies, and we reinvest $150,000 and buy 16,666 Manta, well, guess what? To achieve our goal of $1 million, we only need a 7x, guys. We only need the price of Manta to go back up to $60. That's it. If Manta goes up to $120 or even more, which is probably likely, we only need $60 to be a millionaire. Now, again, you can move those goalposts even higher. So that's very realistic. I mean, only 24x in this case. But of course, we've gone from 10,000 to 1 million, which of course is a little bit more than just a 24x. Okay, that's 100x. And so we pair this now with staking. Okay, so this compound plan plus staking equals a hell of a lot more rewards. If we just stake today those 3,333 Manta tokens and we achieve the same goal of a 17x, we want to sell at $50. Again, we achieve $166,000 revenue. Of course, if we accumulate 40% APY over this time, we gain an extra 1,300 tokens, which comes to $66,000. That's more than people's annual salary, which means we actually get $233,000 revenue, which means say goodbye to this extra side of things. I'll show you what it actually works out to be in a second. We also then reinvest based on this. Let's say we reinvest $200,000 and we acquire 22,222 tokens based on reinvesting $200,000 in 2026. And we stake for a conservative 20% over 3 years. I think Manta will likely be a lot more because of a bear market. There's higher APY in a bear market because there's less people. And we only 7x again to our target of $60. Well, do the math, guys. We make $1.3 million just off that extra compounded tokens from the last cycle, right? These extra 1,300 tokens. Therefore, we're getting an extra $333,000 on top of that $1 million. Plus, we've also staked for the last 3 years at 20% APY, which means it's an extra $1 million. So that's $2.4 million revenue. So let me just show you all because that's quite confusing, okay? Same thing, today we spend $10,000 and buy those Manta tokens. Over here, same thing applies, right? But again, we're staking during this period. So we make the $166,000 plus the additional revenue from the staking, which means we make $233,000. We then keep the 33.7K for nappies and the tax man. Therefore, we reinvest the $200K into $9 per pop for Manta, which comes to those 22,000 tokens. And then we stake for the next 3 years at 20% APY, which means we get the 40,000 tokens multiplied by 60. So we're only, again, 7xing. So again, 24x. And yet we have made a 241x from today to the next cycle. And yet, I tell this to people, and guess what? They still say to themselves, this seems like way too much work. I'm not going to bother. I'm going to find the altcoin, make money, and I'll worry about that stuff later on. I'm sorry, but millionaires are made from doing this, from thinking ahead. Now, again, don't listen to me. Listen to me. That's your own situation. I'm not trying to tell you what to do. But everyone chases the high multiples for their first cycle with little money, right? They want 100 or 200x immediately and no experience. Well, how about leveraging the first cycle we're in right now? Maybe it's just third cycle, but how about leveraging this cycle to make money in the first place, not chase high multiples, just get a 5, 10, 15x, okay? Making that and then making the multi-millions in the next cycle. That's all I have to say, guys. So thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know down below what you think of this plan. I would love to hear what you all want to say. And of course, I'll be sharing all of this and more in my private community. If you want to join, links, of course, are down below. Take good care.